I sit at my parents' kitchen table. The same maple surface where I did homework for 15 years. Noticing how the finish has worn away in the spots where our plates always sat. Mom busies herself at the stove, occasionally glancing at Dad, who's pouring wine with an unusual generosity. More mashed potatoes. April? Mom asks, her voice pitched unnaturally high. I'm good. I watch as she heaps a second serving onto Troy's plate without waiting for his answer. My brother barely notices, his thumbs tapping furiously on his phone screen. His wife, Jessica, fusses over their 8-year-old son Mason, cutting his meat into perfectly equal squares. Isn't it nice? All of us together on a Tuesday? Mom continues, smoothing her apron. So rare these days with everyone's schedules. I nod, taking a sip of wine to hide my frown. A Tuesday night family dinner with no occasion. The good china. Dad's retirement watch gleaming on his wrist. Mom's pearl earrings, which only emerge for church and graduations. Something feels off. Troy and Dad exchange a glance. Mom drops her fork with a clatter. April. She clears her throat, and I sense a shift in the air. We need to discuss something important about Mason's future. I set down my glass. Tension rising as Dad slides an official-looking document across the table toward me. Bank letterhead. Loan paperwork. My stomach tightens as I scan the top page. $40 college fund co-signing agreement. It's just a formality, Troy says, setting his phone down for the first time tonight. His rehearsed tone makes my skin prickle. The bank needs a second signature with solid credit. Someone responsible. The compliment lands hollow. I flip to the second page, where my name is already typed in the co-signer field. You finally have that bonus money, Mom says, reaching for my hand. Her eyes well up with practiced tears. Family helps family. The realization blooms cold in my chest. This dinner wasn't spontaneous. The invitation, the fancy setting, the unusual Tuesday. It's all a calculated ambush. They've been planning this for weeks. I look at my nephew, Mason, innocently pushing letters into patterns, unaware he's the emotional pawn in tonight's game. The kitchen dissolves around me, replaced by the fluorescent lights of Palmer's Pharmacy 12 years ago. 16-year-old me counting pills into bottles after school while other kids went to football games. My textbooks spread out on the break room table during my 30-minute dinner. Studying for AP exams that might earn me scholarships. My parents never came to my science competitions. But Troy's football games? They had custom sweatshirts made. The day my full ride acceptance letter arrived, Mom glanced up from preparing Troy's favorite dinner. That's nice, dear. Could you set the table? 2 months later, they threw Troy a college send-off party with 50 guests. I celebrated my scholarship alone with a single cupcake bought from the bakery where I'd picked up summer shifts. The interest rate is reasonable, Dad says now, tapping the paper with his index finger, pulling me back to the present. And Mason's future depends on this foundation. My throat tightens. I need time to think about this. Troy's jaw clenches. The bank appointment is already scheduled for Thursday. Thursday? My voice rises. That's 2 days from now. After everything we've done for you. Mom interjects, dabbing at her eyes with a napkin. I nearly laugh. What exactly had they done? I paid my way through college with scholarships and part-time jobs. $60 in student loans that I finally paid off last month. No co-signers on those papers. Dad leans forward, his voice dropping to that commanding tone he used when I stayed out past curfew. This is what family does. April. Excuse me, I mutter, pushing back from the table. Bathroom. I lock the door behind me, grip the cool edge of the sink, and splash water on my face. In the mirror, my grandmother's eyes stare back at me. Gran, who raised 3 kids alone after Grandpa died? Who taught me to stand tall when it felt easier to shrink? Your life belongs to you first. She used to whisper when I'd cry about Troy getting the bigger bedroom. The newer bike. The louder praise. My hands tremble as I dry my face. They expect me to walk back in there and sign away my financial future for a nephew whose college fund should have been started by his parents years ago. For a brother who's never once helped me. For parents who see me as the reliable backup plan. I straighten my shoulders, my grandmother's strength flowing into my spine. Thursday's bank appointment is already on their calendar. But my answer doesn't have to be the one they've scheduled. Have you ever been ambushed by family expecting your financial support? That moment when you realize the casual dinner invitation was actually a carefully orchestrated trap? Share your experience in the comments below. The next morning, sunlight filters through my apartment blinds as I stare at my laptop screen. Coffee forgotten beside me. My fingers hover over the keyboard. Frozen by what I see. Account access. 6:42 p.m. Tuesday. The company benefits portal logs every login. Yesterday, hours before the casual family dinner, someone viewed my bonus details from an IP address I don't recognize. I pick up my phone. Scrolling to a contact I rarely use. 3 rings. Accounting department. Sylvia speaking. Hi, Sylvia. It's April Donovan. Quick question. Does Kathy Moore's daughter still work in IT? A pause. Lisa? Yes. But what's this about? The pieces click together like a puzzle I never wanted to solve. Lisa Moore. My mother's best friend's daughter. The woman who sends mom birthday cards every year. Who works in IT security. Just checking. Thanks. I hang up before she can ask more questions. My bank statement shows it clearly. $15.200 deposited last Friday. The exact amount mom mentioned at dinner. Down to the dollar. They knew precisely what I had. My phone buzzes. Troy again. His 5th call since I walked out last night. I let it ring through to voicemail. Then open my text messages. I scroll back weeks, finding the group chat I muted long ago. Troy. She just got her bonus. Mom confirmed amount. Dinner strategy still on for Tuesday? Dad. Confirmed. Your mom's making her favorite meal. Troy. Perfect. She won't see it coming. My stomach twists as if someone punched me. I slam the laptop closed and cross to my closet, dragging out the old cardboard box I've moved with me to every apartment since college. Inside, beneath yearbooks and school certificates, I find my childhood diary with the broken lock. May 15th. Mom and Dad bought Troy a car for graduation. They gave me a card with $50. The 3rd of September, missed my science competition because Troy had a scrimmage. Dad said, there'll be other competitions. The 25th of December. Troy got the new computer. I got clothes for school. Page after page of documented favoritism. Written in increasingly smaller handwriting. As if I was trying to make my complaints take up less space. Just like I always did at home. At the bottom of the box lies a folder of loan documents. My name alone on every page. No co-signers. No parental support. My phone rings again. Troy. What? I snap, answering against my better judgment. You need to stop being difficult. He says, skipping the hello. Mom's been crying all morning. I'm not signing those papers. Family helps family. April. What would Gran say if she saw you being so selfish? The mention of my grandmother makes my blood boil. Don't you dare use Gran against me. She taught me to stand on my own feet. Something you never learned. Look, Mason needs this. It's his future. Why can't you or Mom and Dad co-sign? Why me? His pause tells me everything. Because your credit score is better. He finally admits. Dad's retirement affected their score. And Jessica and I have the house mortgage. So I'm the backup plan. You're being dramatic. Troy says. Dad says you're embarrassing the family. People at church are asking questions. My doorbell rings. I peer through the peephole to see Jessica standing there. Perfectly styled as always. I have to go. I mutter, hanging up. Before I can decide whether to open the door, my phone chimes with a work email. From Janice in HR. Is everything all right? I received a concerning call from a relative of yours about your difficult time. I nearly dropped the phone. They're calling my workplace now? The doorbell rings again. More insistent. However, I don't answer and prepare for work. As I had a meeting later that morning. At work later, Margaret from the research lab drops into the chair beside my desk. At 62, she's seen it all. Her salt and pepper curls frame a face that doesn't suffer fools. You look like you haven't slept, she says, pushing a coffee toward me. Family troubles? I hesitate, looking at the warm, comforting steam rising from the mug. How did she know? Your brother called the front desk asking about you. She adds, her voice low and knowing. Something about a family emergency. She leans closer, her eyes narrowing. I told reception you were in a meeting all day. Thanks. I whisper, relief washing over me. It feels so good not to be alone in this. Margaret's eyes soften, and she speaks again, her voice carrying weight. My sister tried the same thing when our father died. Wanted me to mortgage my house to save hers. She raises a finger, as if drawing a lesson from her words. People who use family as a weapon don't deserve your sacrifice. My phone buzzes with a text from my best friend. Rachel, just checking in. Want to grab dinner tonight? Before I can respond, Troy's name flashes on my screen. April, we need to talk. I already spent some of the college fund money on. I decline the call, my heart pounding. He's already spent the money? Money that doesn't even exist yet? My desk phone rings, a local number I don't recognize. Hello, April, a deep voice greets me. This is Mark Jenkins from First Federal. I'm calling about the family account your father mentioned. I hang up immediately, my hands shaking. That evening, my mom's number appears on my phone. For the first time in my adult life, I decline a family dinner invitation. I can't make it tonight. I say firmly, Thursday. April, Catherine Donovan. Her voice cracks with emotion. You're breaking your father's heart. I end the call, and as I hang up, something strange happens. My hands have stopped trembling. The next morning, Troy appears in the lobby of my building. His voice echoes through the atrium. I need to see my sister. It's a family emergency. My coworkers watch as I meet him at the security desk. I don't even hesitate. You need to leave, I tell him, loud enough for everyone to hear. Not until you agree to sign those papers. He hisses. No. The word feels foreign but powerful on my tongue. The answer is no. Security escorts him out, and as the heavy doors close behind him, I feel the weight of stares and whispers. But I straighten my shoulders, walk back to my desk, and settle into my seat with a sense of victory I never thought I'd have. On Sunday that week, the church bulletin board looms before me, displaying family announcements in cheerful script. I've barely stepped through the heavy wooden doors when Uncle Roger materializes at my elbow. There's my favorite niece, he says, his hand clamping my shoulder. Your mother tells me you're having some trouble understanding family obligations. Before I can respond, Aunt Cheryl appears on my other side. Mason is such a bright boy. Shame if his potential went to waste because of pride. Their coordinated attack continues throughout coffee hour. Relatives appear with rehearsed arguments whenever I try to escape. Pastor Williams even corners me beside the hymnal shelf. The good book tells us family comes first. April, your parents have prayed about this matter extensively. His voice is soft but firm, as if my family's financial fate rests on my decision. So, my stomach knots. Prayers about my bank account. How convenient. Monday morning brings a crisp white envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a single line typed in bold. Ungrateful daughters burn in hell. The paper trembles in my hand. Troy calls that evening, his voice thick with practiced tears. Mason asked why Aunt April doesn't love him enough to help with college. My 8-year-old nephew, suddenly concerned about higher education financing. At Hannaford's on Tuesday, Mrs. Peterson, who's known me since kindergarten, studies the contents of my shopping cart and sniffs. Some people remember where they came from. She mutters, loud enough for other shoppers to hear. The final straw comes Wednesday, when Dad appears at my workplace reception desk, his retirement watch gleaming under fluorescent lights. Need to speak with my daughter. He tells the receptionist with the authoritative tone that once sent me scurrying to my room. Family emergency. I meet him in the lobby, arms crossed. This is inappropriate, I say, my voice steady, unwavering. What's inappropriate is abandoning your family when they need you. He shoots back, his voice ringing across the lobby. His words carry to my colleagues passing through security. Thursday, 10 o'clock. The loan officer is expecting us. He adds, his gaze unwavering. That night, I stare at my tiny apartment ceiling, calculating how many hours remain until I'm expected to sign away my financial future. My company email pings at 9:17 p.m. Biomedical research position, San Francisco branch expansion. Qualified internal candidates encouraged to apply immediately. I blink at the screen. The job description matches my skills perfectly. 3 minutes later, Margaret from HR texts. Did you see the posting? Application deadline Friday. Your experience with the Carlton project makes you perfect. For the first time in days. I breathe deeply. 3,000 miles of geographical insulation. The possibility unfolds like a map showing an escape route. I apply at midnight, fingers flying across my keyboard. Thursday arrives with my anxiety. Yet I do not meet my father in the morning and do not sign anything. However, the evening arrives with another ambush. This one at my parents' house, where I've been summoned to talk things through reasonably. I freeze in the doorway. Counting heads. Troy and Jessica, Mom and Dad, Pastor Williams, Uncle Roger and Aunt Cheryl, 2 church elders, and my cousin Stephanie, who works at the bank. An intervention, Troy announces, his chest puffed with righteousness. Because we're worried about your spiritual welfare. For 20 minutes, I sit silently as Troy delivers what sounds like a practice sermon on Christian duty and family obligation. After all, we sacrificed for you, Mom whispers, voice breaking perfectly on cue. The room hums with murmurs of agreement. Your grandmother would be so disappointed. Aunt Cheryl adds, though she barely knew Gran. Something snaps inside me. My grandmother taught me to stand on my own feet. You always were difficult. Dad sighs. Difficult? The word escapes like steam from a pressure cooker. I worked every summer since I was 15. I earned my scholarship. I paid my student loans without a co-signer or family help. I sacrificed too. Troy lunges forward. This isn't about you. It never is. I stand, surprised by my steady hands. And that's the problem. Later that night, after the arguments and their departure, Rachel helps me pack the essentials into unmarked boxes stored in her garage. I'm shaking with frustration. They really thought a prayer circle would convince me to sign the loan? They thought God would back up their financial plan? I wrap my grandmother's china teacup in bubble wrap, preparing for the final phase of my escape. The San Francisco HR department called. They want a virtual interview tomorrow. The next morning, I accept the California position with a significant raise. Margaret rearranged my work schedule without questions. Family emergency, she tells my supervisor with a conspiratorial wink. I also check my one-way ticket scheduled for Wednesday next week. My elderly neighbor, Mr. Wilson, agrees to collect my mail. Had to escape my own brother's schemes back in '82. He confides, sometimes distance is the only language they understand. Each action builds momentum. On Monday morning, I initiate the transfer of my bank accounts to West Coast branches. Mail forwarding is set up. That same day, I make my final student loan payment. I celebrate the end of the cycle with sparkling cider in a plastic cup. The symmetry feels right, beginning and ending my financial independence journey in solitude. On Tuesday, while cleaning out my desk drawer, I find Gran's letter from my college graduation day. The yellowed paper unfolds to reveal her careful handwriting. Your life belongs to you first. April, choose wisely who gets pieces of it. Love doesn't demand bankruptcy of spirit or wallet. That night, I cried for the first time since this began, not from fear or guilt, but from recognition. In the morning mirror, I see Gran's determined eyes staring back at me. My goodbye letter takes 3 drafts. Not apologizing proves hardest. I place it in an envelope addressed to my parents, leaving it on my kitchen counter next to a check for $500 toward Mason's future. A gift, not an obligation. The California lease agreement arrives by email. My signature flows easily across the electronic document. The weight on my chest lightens with each letter. My phone buzzes with Troy's text. Dad's getting the papers notarized. Be at the bank Thursday at 10 a.m. I don't respond. Just check my flight itinerary one final time. Wednesday departure. One-way ticket. And that's how I just left that Wednesday night. The rideshare driver helps load my 2 suitcases at the airport after I arrive in San Francisco. Big trip? He asks. The biggest, I respond, ready to accept my new life away from my family. As the car merges onto the highway away from the airport, I watch the city skyline through the window. With each step closer to my new life, My smile grows wider, stretching toward a California horizon where no one waits with papers for me to sign. California sunshine streams through unfamiliar curtains as I stretch out on the bed of my hotel, where I'll stay until the end of this week. I'm moving into my new apartment on Sunday. My phone remains deliberately off, sitting on the nightstand like a dormant bomb. Right now, my family is assembling at First Boston National Bank, checking their watches and growing increasingly irritated by my absence. My meticulous planning led to this moment. I think back to the family Sunday dinners I attended, with practiced smiles, the careful way I responded to Troy's persistent questions about the loan with vague phrases like, "I'm still looking into it," and, "The timing isn't ideal right now." I remember how my family forced me, especially my father, into confirming the appointments for Thursday at 10. "You'll be there," he said, not a question, a command. I nodded noncommittally while loading the dishwasher, buying precious time as my escape plan solidified. Last night, while they slept in their comfortable suburban homes, I boarded Flight 1422 to San Francisco. As the plane lifted through Massachusetts clouds, I felt the weight of 30 years of obligation fall away. My chest expanded with each mile west. I slid open the hotel room curtains wider, allowing myself to fully absorb the Pacific light. 3,000 miles now separate me from the bank where Troy paces the lobby, checking his watch every 30 seconds. My phone buzzes to life when I finally power it on. The barrage is immediate. 17 missed calls, 32 text messages. Mom's voicemail plays first, her voice trembling. "April, where are you? Everyone's waiting. Please call immediately." Dad's message is clipped. Authoritative. "This is unacceptable behavior. Call now." By the fifth voicemail, Troy's tone has transformed from irritation to panic. "If you're doing what I think you're doing, there will be consequences, legal consequences." I scroll through the texts as I sip room service coffee. The latest from Mom sends an unexpected chill. "We've contacted the police. You're officially a missing person." My fingers hover over the keyboard before tapping out a response to my old supervisor at work. "They've escalated to missing persons." Just as we anticipated, the reply comes quickly. "HR blocked their information requests this morning. Your employment status is confidential. Relax and enjoy California." I open my laptop and navigate to the email draft I prepared weeks ago. One deep breath. Then I hit send. The comprehensive account of Troy's manipulation, my parents' enabling, and the systematic financial pressure now reaches our extended family. Included are screenshots of Troy's texts planning the dinner strategy and Mom's access to my company benefits portal. My phone rings. Boston Police Department. The officer's voice is professionally neutral. "Miss Donovan, we're following up on a missing persons report filed by your parents." "I'm not missing," I reply, my voice steadier than it's been in months. "I moved for work. Voluntarily." "That's what we figured," he says, the hint of a smile in his voice. "We'll inform your family you're safe." A notification appears. A private message from Jessica, Troy's wife. "I understand why you left. He does this to everyone. Be safe." Throughout the afternoon, my support network activates like a well-rehearsed orchestra. Rachel confirms to my frantic mother that I'm safe and well but need space. Margaret sends a brief text. "Office gossip shut down. Your replacement story is holding. Enjoy the Sunday, Mr. Wilson." My elderly neighbor reports that my parents appeared at my old apartment demanding access. "Told them you'd moved on. Legally, properly." They left disappointed. My new California supervisor sends a welcome email introducing me to the team. No questions asked about my sudden arrival date change. Tonight, they've arranged a casual dinner. As evening approaches, the family facade begins showing its first cracks. Mom's church friend Betsy messages. "Your mother's telling everyone you had a breakdown. Several of us suggested she respect your privacy. I always told her you deserved better." Uncle Frank, Dad's older brother, emails. "Got your explanation. Not surprised. Troy's had his hand out for years. Bank called me about his previous loan applications after your no-show." Things unraveling here. I step onto the hotel balcony, watching the sun sink toward the Pacific. For the first time in months, genuine laughter bubbles from my chest. Unexpected. Liberating. 3,000 miles of distance have accomplished what years of conversations never could. Freedom tastes like California air, crisp. Full of possibility. The welcome dinner notification pings on my calendar. New colleagues. New beginnings. No history. I dress carefully, appreciating how my shoulders have already relaxed away from my ears. This is my life now. Not their demands. Not their expectations. As I prepare to leave my hotel room, one final text appears. From Mason, Troy's 8-year-old son. Obviously using Jessica's phone. Aunt April, when can I visit California? I smile, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. I type back, my response soft, yet firm. Someday soon, buddy, someday soon. The tenderness in my heart catches me off guard. For Mason, I want to be the aunt who's there for him, not just financially, but emotionally. I will help him build his future. But it will be on my terms. A gift, not an obligation. 3 months pass in the haze of new projects, meetings, and clients. For the first time in my life, I'm not living for anyone else's expectations. I'm living for myself. But even in this freedom, my past keeps knocking. One Tuesday afternoon, a certified letter arrives at my workplace. It has an official stamp, and the handwriting on the envelope is unmistakably my father's. I open it slowly, knowing what I'll find. Inside, a single line, typed in bold. Your mother collapsed yesterday. Doctors aren't sure why. We need you home. My hands tremble as I hold the letter. But my mind stays clear. 3 months of California sunshine haven't erased 28 years of manipulation. I dial the hospital directly. No patient under my mother's name. The receptionist informs me. Looking for creative ways to make you answer. I think to myself. Margaret comments during our lunch break on a video call. She recognizes family manipulation tactics better than most therapists. What's the count now? She asks. Scrolling through her phone. 5 in 3 days. I reply. My voice calm. Controlled. Mother's tearful video message yesterday. Troy using his son for a video call to manipulate me. Pastor calling about spiritual healing. And now this letter. Margaret butters her toast with methodical precision. Her eyes narrowing. They're escalating because you're winning. On Saturday morning, as I sit at my apartment desk, an email notification pings. It's from a law firm I've never heard of. A legal notice about family trust obligations. A quick search reveals no such firm exists in Massachusetts. My phone vibrates with Troy's name. Against better judgment, I answer. Mason wants to say goodbye before he begins. His voice breaking perfectly on cue. Before what, Troy? I ask, my voice steady, but anger bubbling up from somewhere deep inside. Before he stops asking about you. He says, as though Mason's interest in me is the only reason I should care. The old guilt rises, but something new rises faster. Anger, clean, clarifying. Put Mason on if he's actually there. I demand. There's a long pause. He's at school, Troy replies. I end the call abruptly. 3 more messages arrive before evening. Mother's health is declining from the stress of abandonment. My parents are selling my grandmother's china cabinet, which had been promised to me since childhood. A former neighbor is calling my supervisor about my concerning behavior back east. I sit in my apartment, the windows open to the coastal breeze, and make my decision. Monday morning, I send one email. Family video call. Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. All of you together. The responses flood in immediately. Mom's tearful acceptance. Dad's stern agreement. Troy's smug certainty. Thursday evening arrives, and my apartment fills with sunset light as I arrange my laptop precisely on the desk. Behind me, no family photos, only my degrees and certification awards, my achievements, my life, my terms. I've prepared for this moment like a surgeon about to perform a complicated operation. At exactly 7 p.m., I click the Join Meeting button. Their faces appear in boxes across my screen. Father at the head of their kitchen table. Mother dabbing tissues beside him. Troy and Jessica with Mason visible in the background. Pastor Wilson in the corner. 3 sets of aunts and uncles I barely recognize. April. Father begins. Authority coding his voice. We've gathered as a family to discuss your concerning behavior and I'll be speaking first. I interrupt, my voice steadier than it's ever been addressing him. I have prepared remarks and evidence that requires your full attention. Mother starts to protest, but father raises his hand to silence her, curiosity briefly overriding his need for control. 3 months ago, you ambushed me with demands to co-sign a $40 loan for Mason's college fund. I begin, screen sharing a meticulously organized timeline. Since then, you've escalated to increasingly desperate tactics, which I've documented fully. Troy shifts forward. This is ridiculous. We're trying to secure our son's future. And you're treating us like criminals. You told First National Bank the money was for Mason's education. I reply, clicking to the next slide. But I have you on record telling your poker buddy it would cover your gambling debts. The recording plays. Troy's unmistakable voice echoes in the room. April's bonus is exactly what I need to clear the tables. Once she signs, I'll worry about Mason's college later. Silence falls like a physical weight. Jessica's head snaps toward Troy, and I continue methodically through my evidence. Bank statements proving my parents have sufficient assets to guarantee the loan themselves. My student loan history versus Troy's fully funded education. Childhood diary entries documenting systematic favoritism. But perhaps most compelling, I say, clicking forward, is this analysis showing that this pattern has repeated throughout our lives? Troy receives. I provide. From bedrooms to birthdays to college tuition. Father's face has turned to stone. Mother's tears have stopped, replaced by something harder. You're twisting everything, Troy shouts, slamming his hand on their table. This is what families do. They help each other. Like you helped me with my student loans? I ask. Like you helped when I needed a co-signer for my first apartment? The assistance has only ever flowed one direction. Aunt Meredith speaks up from her square. Robert, is this true? That April paid her own way through college while you covered Troy's expenses? Father can't meet her eyes. My financial decisions are not family property. I state, looking directly into the camera. I'm willing to establish a relationship moving forward, but only under new terms. The kitchen behind them is so quiet I can hear the wall clock ticking. No contact for 6 months. I continue. After that, we can reassess based on everyone's behavior. Any attempt to manipulate me or contact my workplace will reset the clock. Father opens his mouth, then closes it. For the first time in my life, I've rendered him speechless. In his eyes, behind the anger, flickers something unexpected. Respect. Troy stands abruptly. This is bulls. His sentence is cut off as he storms away from the camera. Mother leans forward, her hand reaching toward the screen like she could touch me across 3,000 miles. April, she pauses, swallows. I'm sorry, I didn't see what we were doing. It's the first genuine apology I've heard from her since childhood. 6 months. I repeat, my finger hovering over the disconnect button. Your move. I end the call on my terms, not theirs. The silence in my apartment feels different now. Like the quiet after a storm passes. Like freedom. I stretch my arms toward the ceiling of my California apartment. Sunlight streaming through windows that actually face the morning sky. 6 months in this space with an actual living room. And I still smile every time I walk across the hardwood floors in my bare feet. As the weeks pass, I find myself adjusting to this new life. One that feels foreign yet incredibly freeing. I've started building a life on my own terms. With no strings tied to the manipulative grasp of my family. The silence that once filled my heart with anxiety now feels like peace. I finally understand the meaning of freedom, not the absence of family, but the presence of choice. My phone buzzes as I settle into my morning routine on the balcony. Sipping my tea and enjoying the California sunshine. It's a text from Rachel, my best friend, who has been my rock through all of this. Wanna grab dinner tonight? The message reads. I smile, typing a quick reply. Sounds perfect. I'll see you at 7. Just as I hit send, my phone buzzes again, but this time it's an email notification from my HR department. I freeze for a second, scanning the subject line. Final decision regarding promotion. My heart skips. In the whirlwind of dealing with my family's chaos, I almost forgot about the promotion I applied for back in February. It was an internal position in the San Francisco branch. A role that perfectly matched my skill set. The email opens. "We're pleased to inform you that you have been selected for the promotion." A wave of relief washes over me. A mix of pride and validation. I close the email and take a deep breath. This is what I worked for. This is the life I've built. No more bending to the will of my family. This is my victory. At the end of the day, I'm sitting with Rachel at our favorite Italian restaurant, enjoying a glass of wine. We toast to my new job and to the new life I'm building. We laugh, talk about everything and nothing. And for the first time in months, I feel like I'm truly living, not just surviving. But then, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's from an unknown number. I hesitate for a moment before answering, my stomach nodding with the anticipation of what's to come. "April." Dad's voice comes through the phone. It's calm, but there's something in his tone that I haven't heard in years, genuine concern. Maybe even regret. "We need to talk." I clench my jaw, feeling the anger rise in my chest. After everything, after all the manipulation, after the months of silence, now he wants to talk? Now, when I've finally found my peace. "I'm listening," I respond, my voice steady but cold. "Your mother's health is deteriorating. She's asking for you. We're worried." The word, worried, hits me like a physical blow. My mind races back to the letter I received months ago. The one where they tried to pull me back with emotional manipulation. But this time, it's different. This time, I'm stronger. I breathe in deeply, feeling my resolve harden. "Father, I don't think you understand." I begin, my voice firm. "I don't owe you or anyone else anything. Not anymore. I've worked for everything I have. I've fought to break free. And I will not let guilt or emotional blackmail pull me back into your world of manipulation." There's a long pause on the other end of the line. "I'm not going to be the backup plan anymore. I'm not your backup. And I'm not Mason's. I gave you years of my life. Years of trying to please you. To gain your approval. But you didn't even show up for me when it mattered most. I'm done." I pause, letting the words sink in. "I'm not coming back, Dad. Not for her. Not for you. Not for anyone." For a moment, the line is silent. Then Dad speaks again, his voice barely above a whisper. I never realized." "No, you never did." I cut him off, my heart pounding. "But I did. I've realized that my life belongs to me now. And I'm not going to waste another second trying to fix something that was never mine to fix in the first place." The phone call ends, and I sit back in my chair, staring at my phone. I've finally said what I needed to say. And for the first time in my life, I don't feel the weight of guilt. I don't feel like I'm carrying the world on my shoulders. Rachel watches me carefully, sensing the shift in my energy. She doesn't ask questions. She simply reaches out and squeezes my hand across the table. "You did what you needed to do," she says softly. I nod, a small smile tugging at my lips. I did, and I'm finally free. That night, as I lay in bed, I reflect on how far I've come. The life I've built in California is mine. And for the first time in years, it feels real. It feels like I'm living for myself, not anyone else's expectations. And as the sun sets over the Pacific, casting its golden light into my room, I know that no matter what happens next, I'll be okay. The weeks that follow are filled with moments of realization and freedom. I settle into my new role in San Francisco, surrounded by colleagues who respect my boundaries and encourage my growth. I learn the ins and outs of my new position, tackling challenging projects with the confidence I once lacked. Every new success is a quiet victory for myself, one that I've earned without the pressure of family expectations looming over me. On weekends, I explore my new city. The crisp air of the Bay Area is refreshing, and each step I take down the bustling streets of San Francisco feels like another step away from the life I once knew. I make new friends, people who see me for who I am, not the person I used to be, molded by my family's constant demands. But still, despite the peace I've found, my past keeps creeping in. I receive messages occasionally, a few are from Rachel, keeping me updated on news from back home, offering her support and encouragement. She sends little notes of love and reassurances when the guilt threatens to sneak in. But most of the messages come from family, mostly Troy. He keeps trying to reach me. Sending texts, voicemails, even emails. I know you're mad, April, but please think about Mason. One text reads, he misses you. We all miss you. This is tearing us apart. Mom is so sick. I need you, please. Another message reads, you can't just leave like that. You're breaking the family. You're breaking Dad's heart. Please, call us back. I can't help but notice how every single message still centers on them. Not once does Troy acknowledge how much I've given up. Not once does he acknowledge that the only person who has ever tried to break free is me. And yet I'm the one expected to fix their problems. I've become numb to their manipulation. Even when the messages are laced with pleas for my forgiveness and guilt-laden accusations. Each time I delete them without responding, the weight of the past feels lighter. But the guilt still claws at the edges of my mind. Sometimes, when I'm alone at night, the thought crosses my mind, what if something happens to them? What if I'm making a mistake? But then, I remind myself of how far I've come. I've made a life for myself. And the weight of their expectations no longer defines me. One evening, as I'm sitting at my desk, absorbed in work, I receive a call. It's not from Troy, but from a number I don't recognize. I hesitate for a moment. Then pick up. Hello? April? It's me, Jessica. I freeze. Jessica, of all people, she's the last person I thought would reach out to me. I've never been close to her. Never really trusted her. But here she is, calling me. Jessica? My voice is cautious. I know this might be strange. She begins, her voice soft and tentative. But I'm hoping you'll hear me out. I lean back in my chair, my mind racing. Why would Jessica, of all people, call me now? I wanted to apologize, she says, her words catching in her throat. I didn't understand what you were going through. And I didn't know how much Troy was pushing you. How much he was taking advantage of you. I didn't know. I sit in stunned silence. I can't believe how things turned out. She continues, but I see now that you were always expected to carry so much. To be the one who gives. And I never really saw that. I never understood how much you were sacrificing. I almost can't believe what I'm hearing. Jessica, apologizing? Is this real? I don't expect you to forgive me. She continues, I just wanted you to know that I see you now. I know what Troy was doing. I know how he treated you. And I'm sorry. I was wrong. I feel a mixture of relief and confusion. How could I have possibly thought that no one saw it? How could I have doubted that I wasn't just some victim in their game? This apology, while unexpected, feels like a quiet victory. A validation that I didn't have to carry their burdens anymore. Thank you, I say, my voice steady despite the unexpected warmth in my chest. I appreciate you saying that. After a few more minutes of conversation, she wishes me well, and the call ends. I sit back in my chair, letting her words wash over me. It's the first time in so long that someone outside of my circle of friends has recognized what I've been through. For a brief moment, I almost feel like I've been seen. Like I'm no longer invisible to the people who once took me for granted. But that moment doesn't last. Because the next text I receive is from Troy. The same old threats. The same demands. He's gotten to Jessica. She's already caved. But this time, I'm ready. I ignore his message, focusing on the new life I've built. The following weekend, I spend the day hiking in Marin. The towering redwoods remind me how small I am in this vast world. And yet, for the first time in my life, I'm not trying to shrink. I'm embracing my place in it. Taking my time to breathe in the fresh air. To live for myself. I come back to my apartment, feeling lighter than I have in years. When I receive a message from Rachel. How are you holding up? I smile, responding quickly. Better than ever. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I am. I've let go of the past. I've carved out a life for myself that no one else controls. For the first time in years, I feel a sense of peace. I'm free. It's hard to explain to others who haven't experienced the weight of family expectations. How every interaction is filled with an unspoken demand. How each holiday, each birthday, each family event felt like an obligation rather than a joy. But now, I'm no longer bound by those expectations. I'm not the one expected to fix what's broken. I'm living my life, on my terms, with the people who respect my choices and understand the value of boundaries. And as the sun sets over the Pacific, I know that whatever comes next, I'll face it with strength. I will no longer be the backup plan. I will no longer be the one everyone turns to when they need something. I'll be April, living for herself. The days continue to stretch into weeks. And with each passing moment, I find myself becoming more attuned to the rhythm of my new life. I've learned how to set boundaries, real ones. Not just the ones I used to pretend existed for the sake of keeping the peace. I have discovered the joy of quiet evenings spent with a good book. The satisfaction of work done well. And the simple pleasure of not having to answer to anyone but myself. But, as always, my past is never too far behind. One afternoon, I'm at a coffee shop near my apartment, catching up on some work when I receive an email from my old supervisor back home. It's titled, "April, I need to talk to you." My heart skips a beat. I haven't heard from anyone back home in months. Not since the fallout with my family. I click open the email, bracing myself for what's to come. The email is short, but the words hit me harder than I expected. I wanted to reach out and apologize for not standing by you during all of this. I know now that you were treated unfairly, and I regret not supporting you. Please know that if you ever need anything, whether it's advice, a reference, or just someone to talk to, I'm here for you. The sincerity in the words surprises me. And while part of me wants to lash out, to remind him of how he stood by and let it all happen, I take a deep breath. I don't need to relive the past. Not now. Not anymore. I type a response, thanking him for his message, but gently reminding him that I've moved on from that chapter of my life. The weight of the situation no longer drags me down. I'm not the same person I was when I left. And as I hit send, I realize that I'm finally free of the past, free of the need for validation or apology from anyone who let me down. The next few days pass in a blur of work and personal time. I spend my evenings exploring more of the city, finding little pockets of peace in unexpected places. There's a park by the water where I like to walk when I need to clear my head. And I've discovered a cozy bookshop tucked away in a corner of the city that I frequent when I need a break from the noise of the world. But despite all this peace, there's still one thing that lingers in the back of my mind, Mason. I haven't spoken to him since I left. And the thought of him often gnaws at me. I wonder what kind of world he's growing up in, surrounded by all the chaos and manipulation of the family. I wonder if he misses me. I wonder if he even remembers the person I was before I walked away. Then, one evening, as I sit at my kitchen table in my new apartment, the phone rings. I look down at the caller ID. It's Jessica. I hesitate for a moment before answering. April? Her voice is soft, hesitant. I didn't expect you to pick up, but I really needed to talk to you. I take a deep breath, bracing myself for what's to come. Jessica, I say, keeping my voice calm, neutral. What is it? I need you to know something. Troy's been spiraling. April, I don't know how to help him anymore. He's messing up in ways I can't fix. But Mason, he's asking about you. He wants to know why you don't visit anymore. Why you don't answer his calls. I pause, my heart heavy. Mason's been asking for months. She continues, her voice cracking. He wants to see you. He's been talking about how he misses you. I feel a tight knot form in my chest. I don't know how to respond to her. This is what I've been avoiding. The pull to go back. To fix things, to be the person they need me to be. But I don't have to go back. Not for them, not for anyone. Mason deserves better, I say finally, my voice firm. He deserves to grow up in an environment where he's valued for who he is. Not for what he can be used for. He deserves love, Jessica, not manipulation. And you've seen it. You've seen what they do. What Troy does. There's a long silence on the other end. I know. She whispers, but April, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't fix this. I don't know how. You don't have to fix it. I reply softly, you just need to stop enabling it. The words feel foreign in my mouth. But they're true. And for once, I realize that I'm not the one who needs to fix anything. I'm not the one who needs to carry the weight of the family's dysfunction anymore. I'm sorry, April, Jessica says, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know how bad it was until it was too late. I just wanted to say, I was wrong. I sit back in my chair, closing my eyes for a moment. I've heard those words before. But this time, they mean something. This time, they feel like a small step toward healing. I know, I say, my voice gentle. It's not about being right or wrong, Jessica. It's about choosing to stop the cycle. The call ends soon after. And I sit in silence, feeling the weight of the conversation settle over me. For the first time in months, I feel a sense of closure. I've let go of the idea of fixing everything. I've let go of the need to be the one to save them. I'm no longer tied to their expectations. And I'm finally free. The next morning, I sit in the park by the water, watching the waves crash against the shore. The world feels vast and open. And for the first time in my life, I don't feel afraid of it. I feel like I belong here. Like I've found my place. Finally. And when I close my eyes, I feel Gran's words echoing in my mind. Your life belongs to you first. And for the first time in years, I truly believe it. As the days continue to pass, I settle into the rhythm of my new life. The sharp edges of my past, the guilt and the manipulation, start to soften. My routine feels comfortable. Work, the quiet weekends, evenings spent with books or walks in the park. It's not perfect, but it's mine, and it's enough. One morning, I wake up to an unexpected email from the Women's Financial Literacy Program, a group I've started volunteering with. They've invited me to speak at an upcoming seminar. The idea of standing in front of a crowd, sharing my story, fills me with a mix of dread and excitement. This isn't something I ever imagined doing, let alone sharing the most painful parts of my life. But I can feel the shift inside me. I want to help. I want others to understand the power of choice, of taking control of their lives and not being bound by anyone else's expectations. I sit at my desk that afternoon, drafting the speech. As I write, I'm amazed by how far I've come. A year ago, I couldn't have even imagined a future that wasn't tied to my family's needs and demands. But here I am, making choices for myself, with confidence and without the shadow of guilt hanging over me. The seminar day arrives, and I stand at the front of a room full of women, all eager to hear how to take control of their financial futures. I take a deep breath and begin to speak. I'm here today because I want to tell you that your life belongs to you first. For a long time, I thought my value came from what I could give to others, my family, my friends. I thought my worth was tied to being there for everyone else, no matter the cost to me. I pause, letting the words sink in, then continue, my voice steady but powerful. But I've learned something over the past year. No one can truly love you until you learn to love yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving, constantly sacrificing your well-being for others, you'll end up lost, with nothing left to give. I learned that the hard way. The room is silent as they absorb my words. I feel a quiet strength building inside me. I'm no longer the scared girl who had to fight for attention. I am the woman who has found her voice. I didn't want to be the person my family thought I was. The reliable one, the backup plan. I didn't want to be the one who had to save everyone. So, I walked away, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was also the best thing I ever did. I pause again, letting the gravity of my words settle into the room. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. Don't let anyone define your worth based on their expectations. You have the right to choose your life. And that's the first step toward true freedom. As I finish, I look out at the women in the audience. There's a quiet hum of agreement, of recognition. They understand. They see themselves in my story. Afterward, a few women approach me to thank me for sharing. One woman, in particular, grabs my hand, her eyes brimming with tears. I've been stuck in a toxic family dynamic for years, she says, her voice trembling. I didn't know how to break free. But hearing you talk, it's like a light bulb just went off. I can do this. I can make my own choices. Her words hit me like a wave. I never thought that speaking my truth would help others. But it's in that moment that I realize how powerful sharing our stories can be. It can heal. It can set us free. The rest of the day passes in a blur of conversations, hugs, and encouragement. As I leave the event, I feel lighter than I have in a long time. There's still a part of me that carries the weight of my past, but it no longer controls me. I've finally found my purpose, not in fixing what was broken, but in helping others heal their own wounds. That evening, as I sit at my kitchen table, sipping wine and reflecting on the day, I get a message from Rachel. "Hey, just checking in. How's everything going?" I smile at the message and respond, my heart full. "Good. Really good. I'm finally at peace. For the first time." The words don't feel like a lie. They're the truth. I'm at peace with who I am and where I've come from. And as the days stretch on, I realize that I don't need anyone to save me anymore. I'm the one who's saved myself. I've built a life that's mine. I'm not the backup plan anymore. I'm the main character of my own story. The following week, I receive another message from Jessica. It's brief, but it catches me off guard. "I spoke to Troy today. He's still struggling, but he's starting to realize a few things. I don't know if you'll ever forgive him, but he wanted me to say he's sorry for everything." I sit with the message for a while, considering it. Then, I type my response. I'm glad he's starting to understand. But I can't go back to that. I've moved on. I've found my own peace. It's the first time I've said that to anyone. And for the first time, I don't feel guilty. I don't feel like I'm abandoning anyone. I'm choosing me. As the sun sets over the bay, I sit on my balcony, looking out at the sparkling water. The air is cool, and the city is alive with possibilities. For the first time in my life, I'm not looking back. I'm not running away from anything anymore. I'm standing right here, in the present, and I know that whatever happens next, I'm ready. The weeks that follow are filled with a new kind of peace. One I never thought I would find. With every passing day, the weight of my past lifts, and I become more grounded in my new life. It's not perfect. There are moments of doubt. Moments when the old guilt creeps in, but they're fleeting. My path is clearer now, and I walk it with purpose, surrounded by the people who respect and support the choices I've made. At work, I'm thriving. My promotion to the San Francisco branch has opened up new doors, and I'm pushing myself to excel in ways I never thought possible. I've gained the respect of my team, and more importantly, I've learned to respect myself. No longer do I feel the need to prove anything to anyone. My worth isn't tied to my family's approval. My worth comes from within. One Friday evening, after a long week, I decide to treat myself to dinner at a local restaurant by the water. The evening air is cool and refreshing as I sit at an outdoor table, overlooking the city skyline. I've come to appreciate moments like this, moments of solitude, where I can simply be with myself and savor the present. As I enjoy my meal, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Rachel. "Guess who just called me? Your mom." I freeze, the bite of food halfway to my mouth. I hadn't heard from my parents in months. After my decision to walk away, the silence between us was absolute. Their calls stopped. Their texts stopped. But now, Rachel's message rattles me. "Is everything okay?" I reply, my mind racing. She sounded different. Rachel types back. She said she wants to talk. I don't know what that means, but she seemed genuinely upset. I put my phone down, taking a deep breath. Part of me wants to ignore it. I've spent months building a life without them, without their toxic influence. The last thing I want is to get caught up in their games again. But a small part of me, the part that used to long for their approval, feels a flicker of curiosity. What could she possibly want now? I sit with the feeling for a while, allowing myself to reflect on how far I've come. I've built something real here in California, something that's mine. I'm no longer the person I used to be. I'm no longer defined by their demands. But the decision of whether or not to engage with them looms. I decide to reach out to Rachel for some clarity. "Do you think I should call her?" I type. Part of me feels like I'm going to be dragged back into the same old cycle. But I can't shake the feeling that this might be my last chance to get some closure. Rachel responds almost immediately. "Only you can decide that. But remember this, your peace is the most important thing. Don't let them back in unless it's for the right reasons. You don't owe anyone an explanation if you're not ready." Her words settle into me like a gentle wave. I realize that, no matter what happens, my peace comes first. I don't need to rush into anything. If my mom wants to talk, I'll have the conversation on my terms. If it feels like they're trying to manipulate me again, I'll walk away, just like I did before. The next day, I'm still thinking about it. But I know I can't make a decision in a vacuum. I need to protect my mental and emotional well-being. So, I take a deep breath and dial my mom's number. The call rings a few times before she picks up. Her voice is hesitant, almost shaky. April, is that you? I pause, feeling the familiar tightness in my chest. But this time, it's different. I'm not the scared girl from before. I'm not the one who's been manipulated into feeling guilty. I'm strong now. Yeah, it's me, Mom. What's going on? She sighs, the sound carrying the weight of years of unspoken words. I've been thinking about everything. About how things went down between us. And I realize now how much I've hurt you. I've been a bad mother in a lot of ways. And I want to make it right. I want us to fix this. April, I want to apologize. I'm silent for a moment, taking in her words. This is what I've been waiting for. What I've dreamed about for years, the apology that I never thought would come. But even as the words settle in, I feel a strange sense of detachment. It's not the emotional response I was expecting. I appreciate your apology, I say, my voice steady, but I need you to understand that my life has changed. I've made peace with what happened, and I'm not going to return to the way things were before. There's a long silence on the other end. I can hear her breathing, waiting for me to say more. I know, she finally says, her voice soft. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I don't expect anything from you. Not after everything, but I needed to say it. I nod, even though she can't see me. I hear you, Mom, and that's enough for me. I don't need you to fix everything. I just need you to understand that I'm not the person I was before. And I'm not going to allow myself to be dragged back into old patterns. She's quiet for a moment before replying. I understand, April, and I'm sorry. I just want you to be happy. There it is, the final piece of closure I've been seeking. It doesn't change the past. And it doesn't magically fix our relationship. But it's enough. I realize I no longer feel the weight of my family's expectations holding me down. I've finally come full circle. I'm doing well, Mom, I say softly, my voice filled with a quiet strength. I've built a good life here. And I'm happy. She doesn't say much after that. And the call ends with a sense of finality. I don't feel the need to say more. I don't need to convince her of anything. I'm content with what I've said. My boundaries are intact, and I've spoken my truth. As I hang up, I feel a deep sense of relief. For the first time in years, I don't feel the weight of guilt or the need for approval. I've chosen myself. I've chosen my peace. And that, in itself, is enough. The weeks that follow the conversation with my mom are a blend of quiet relief and the steady march of forward momentum. I don't look back. There's no need. My life now is my own. I've found my footing, and it feels good to finally stand tall without the weight of my past weighing me down. Work continues to challenge me, but in the best way possible. I'm leading projects, making decisions that matter, and building relationships with colleagues who respect me for my skills. Not for what I can do for them. I'm not just a cog in a machine anymore. I'm an integral part of something bigger. Something I've earned on my own. Evenings are spent exploring more of San Francisco. I've fallen in love with this city. The way it feels like a blend of history and future. The old streets lined with buildings that have witnessed decades of change. And the new ones rising up, full of promise. I take long walks along the waterfront. The sound of the waves calming my thoughts. The cool air always reminding me that I'm free. But there's a subtle shift in my life now. I'm starting to realize that while I've moved on from my family, I've never truly learned how to live without their shadow. I've been so focused on building my independence that I've forgotten what it means to connect, to form new bonds beyond work and the casual acquaintances I've made along the way. One evening, as I sit at the cafe in the park, sipping my usual tea, I get a message from Rachel. It's simple. Just a quick check-in. But it makes me pause. Hey, how's everything going? I've been thinking about you. Are you still okay? I type back quickly, telling her I'm fine. But the truth is, something is missing. Despite all the progress I've made, there's still a void, something intangible, yet undeniable. It's not the need for family. It's the desire for connection. For real, meaningful relationships that aren't built on obligation or expectations. I don't know how to fill that void yet. But I know it's there. I can feel it in the quiet moments, when I'm walking alone in the park. Or when I'm sitting at home, reading, and the thought crosses my mind. What would it be like to have someone here with me? It's not that I want to go back to my old life, to the toxic ties that used to define me. I don't. But I'm starting to understand that true freedom isn't just about escaping the past. It's about learning to embrace the future, even when it feels uncertain. One evening, I find myself in a conversation with Margaret, one of my colleagues and a woman I've come to admire deeply. She's older, wise, and unafraid to speak her mind. We're at a local wine bar, celebrating a recent successful project, when she turns to me with a thoughtful expression. "You know, April," she begins, "there's something I've noticed about you. You've come a long way in a short amount of time. But I also see that you're holding back. You're living your life, yes, but there's a part of you that's still afraid to truly connect with others. You've spent so much time protecting yourself that I think you've forgotten what it means to let people in." Her words hit me with the force of a revelation. She's right. I've been so focused on healing from my past, on protecting myself from the same mistakes, that I've shut myself off from the possibility of true, deep connections. I've been content with my solitude. But I know now that it's time to open myself up again. It's time to stop living in the shadows of my own making. Margaret smiles knowingly, as if she's read my mind. You don't have to do it all at once. But don't let fear stop you from finding the connections you deserve. I think about her words long after that evening ends. As I walk home in the crisp night air, the city lights reflecting in the windows of the buildings around me, I realize that the next step in my journey isn't about continuing to push my family away. It's about learning how to welcome new people into my life. People who will respect me for who I am now, not the person I used to be. The following weekend, I attend a community event at the park, a gathering organized by a local group to raise awareness for mental health and financial independence. I've been hesitant to put myself out there, but something about the event calls to me. It feels like an opportunity to not only help others but also to help myself, to open up and allow others in. Just like Margaret suggested, I arrive early, not sure what to expect. But as soon as I step into the crowd, I feel an unexpected sense of belonging. These are people who get it. They understand what it means to struggle, to fight for independence, to break free from the weight of societal expectations. And for the first time in a long time, I let myself relax into the conversation, letting my guard down just a little. By the end of the event, I've exchanged numbers with a few people, one of whom, a woman named Laura, has invited me to lunch the following week. We talk about everything and nothing, from career aspirations to favorite books. There's no pressure, no strings attached, just two people getting to know each other, building a new connection. I leave the lunch feeling lighter, more at peace with myself than I have in a long time. I realize that I'm not just healing anymore. I'm growing. I'm learning how to live, truly live, without the shadow of my past looming over me. That night, I sit in front of the window in my apartment, watching the city bustle below. The horizon stretches out before me, infinite and full of possibilities. I've come a long way from the girl who used to apologize for her very existence. I've learned to say no, to walk away, to build a life that's mine. And now, I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next. No longer just surviving, I'm finally living. The following months feel like a gentle unfolding, like the bloom of a flower in spring. Each day brings a small, quiet victory. I continue to work hard, and my career flourishes. My relationships with my new friends, those I've allowed to enter my life, grow stronger. There's laughter now, real laughter. It fills the empty spaces, erasing the silence that used to follow me everywhere. I've learned how to balance my time between work, personal growth, and connecting with people who truly see me. But still, there are moments when the past lingers in the back of my mind, like a shadow that refuses to completely disappear. It's not the fear of returning to my family's control that haunts me anymore. It's the realization that my family has always been part of who I am, even if I'm no longer bound by their expectations. One evening, I'm sitting at my favorite cafe, sipping coffee, when I get a call. It's a number I don't recognize. But there's something in my gut that tells me it's important. I hesitate only for a moment before picking up. Hello? April. It's me, Mom. I freeze. The last time I spoke to her was months ago, and I haven't heard from her since. My pulse quickens. I don't know what I expect, but I'm not sure I'm ready for this conversation. My instincts urge me to hang up, but instead, I listen. I've been thinking about what you said. She starts, her voice softer than I remember. About how I've been a part of your pain. And I realize you were right. I can't keep pretending like nothing happened. I've hurt you in ways I didn't understand before. I swallow, unsure of how to respond. Her words are a surprise, genuine. Perhaps, but also a bit too late. I've already built my life without them. And I don't need an apology to validate my decision. But as I sit there, something inside me shifts. Maybe it's the way she sounds. Or maybe it's the simple fact that she's acknowledging the hurt. Maybe it's because I've never had the space to fully let go. I hear you, Mom, I say slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. But I've had to build a life without you. I've had to make peace with who I am and where I'm going. I'm not sure what you want from me now. She's quiet for a moment before answering. Her words quiet but measured. I'm not asking you to fix things. I know I can't. But I wanted to tell you that I'm trying to change. And if you ever want to try again, I'll be here. But I understand if you can't. I just needed you to know that. I feel a strange mix of emotions swirl inside me. I'm not ready to invite her back into my life. Not in the way she wants. But I don't hang up. I don't cut her off entirely either. I don't know, Mom, I finally say, my voice softer than I expected. I don't know what the future looks like for us. But I'm not the same person I was before. And I can't go back to what we were. There's a pause. A long silence that stretches between us. Then she speaks, her voice tinged with resignation. I understand, and I'm sorry for all of it. We say our goodbyes, and I hang up. The air feels heavier in the cafe now, as if I've just confronted something I've been running from for a long time. But there's no weight in my chest. No urge to pick up the phone and call her back. Just a strange, empty space, as if something has finally been put to rest. I leave the cafe feeling lighter than I expected. As if the final piece of my healing has clicked into place. I've allowed the possibility of reconciliation into my heart without fully reopening the door. And that's enough for now. The following weeks continue in this new rhythm. I find myself volunteering more at the Women's Financial Literacy Program, leading workshops, offering advice, and hearing stories of other women who are just beginning their journeys of financial independence. It's powerful, this new role I've embraced. Every woman I meet reminds me of the strength I didn't know I had. Every conversation reinforces the idea that, while the past can shape us, it doesn't have to define us. One evening, as I'm sitting at my desk, finishing up some work, I get another message. It's from Rachel. Hey, just wanted to check in. You've been quiet lately. Everything okay? I smile at the message. It's a simple thing. But it's a reminder of the people who are truly there for me. The ones who don't need to fix my past, they just need to be there in the present. I type back. I'm good. Better than good. Actually, I've been thinking about everything. And I think I'm finally where I'm supposed to be. Just wanted to thank you for sticking by me all this time. Her reply is quick, filled with warmth. Always. Girl, you've got this. I'm proud of you. It's enough. It's more than enough. And as the days pass, I continue to grow. I continue to build a life that's uniquely mine. Shaped by my decisions, my independence, my strength. I'm not waiting for anyone's approval anymore. I'm not playing the role I used to play. I'm writing my own story. The future is wide open. And for the first time in my life, I'm not afraid to embrace it. I've stepped into the light, away from the shadows of my past. And I'm walking with my head high, my heart open. The city outside my window is as beautiful as ever. And I finally realize, there's no need to look back. The life I've built here, on my own, is more than enough.